Next, you're going to try for a head strike, she informed Morgan coolly, because you always do. You think you know everything, but you don't know me anymore. I've changed, he told her, just as calmly, and went for a head strike. Psych, he said as she blocked it, and would clash with a sharp whack. Wrong. Jess twisted her stick sharply, got leverage on his, and whipped it down, holding it against his upper thighs. Trapped, she grinned into his face and was startled for a moment. She hadn't been this close to him in a long time. His eyes, they were so green, gem colored, and full of strange light. For just an instant, neither of them moved, their weapons down, their gazes connected. Their faces were so close their breath mingled. Then Morgan slipped out of the trap. Don't try that stuff, he said nastily. What stuff? The moment her stick was free of his, she snapped it up again, reversing her grip and thrusting toward his eyes. You know what stuff. He deflected her thrust with unnecessary force. That I'm Jazz and I'm so wild and beautiful stuff. That. Why don't you just drop your stick and let me hit you because it'll be fun stuff. Morgan, what are you talking about? In between the words, she attacked. A strike to his throat and then one to his temple. He blocked and evaded, which was just what she wanted. Evasion, retreat. She was crowding him into a corner. That's the only way you won before, trying to play on people's feelings for you. Well, it won't work anymore. He countered viciously, but it didn't matter. Jazz blocked with a whirlwind of strikes of her own, pressing him, and then he had no choice but to retreat until his back was against the corner. She had him. She had no idea what he meant about playing on people's feelings, and she didn't have time to think about it. Morgan was dangerous as a wounded tiger when he was cornered. His eyes were glowing emerald green with sheer fury, and there was a hardness to his features that hadn't been there last year. He does hate me, Jazz thought. Hugh was wrong. He's hurt and angry, and he absolutely hates me. The textbook answer was to use that emotion against him, to provoke him and get him so mad that he gave her an opening. Some instinct deep inside Jazz was worried about that, but she didn't listen. Hey, all's fair, right? She told him softly. And what do you mean it won't work? I've got you, haven't I? She flashed out a couple of quick attacks, more to keep him occupied than anything else. You're caught, and you're going to have to let down your guard sometime. The green eyes that had been luminous with fury suddenly went cold, the color of glacier ice. Unless I do something unexpected, he said. Nothing you do is unexpected, she said sweetly. But her mind was telling her that provoking him had been a mistake. She had hit some nerve, and he was stronger than he'd been a year ago. He didn't lose his temper under pressure the way he used to. He just got more determined. Those green eyes unnerved her. Move in hard, she thought. All out. Go for a pressure point. Numb his arm. But before she could do anything, a wave of power hit her and sent her reeling. She never felt anything exactly like it. It came from Morgan, a shock wave of telepathic energy that struck her like a physical thing. It knocked her back 2 steps and made her struggle for balance. It left the air crackling with electricity and a faint smell of ozone. Jazz's mind spun. How had he done that? It's not hard, Morgan said in a calm, cold voice that went with his eyes. He was out of the corner by now, of course. For a moment, Jazz thought he was reading her thoughts, but then she realized her question must be written all over her face. It's something I discovered after you left, he went on. All of it takes all it takes is practice. If you're telepathic, Jazz thought, which I'm not anymore. The night people are getting stronger, developing more powers, she thought. Well, Hugh had been right on that one, and she was in trouble now. Whack, that was Morgan going for a side sweep. He noticed her lack of balance. Jazz countered automatically, but her head wasn't clear and her body was ringing with pain. He'd shaken her, distracted her. As you said, all's fair, Morgan said with a smile, cold smile on his lip. You have your weapons, I have mine. And then he threw another of those shock waves at her. Jazz was better braced for it now, but it still rocked her on her feet, took her attention off her weapon, just long enough for her to screw up and let him in. He drove upward to catch her stick from below. Then he twisted, sweeping her stick in a circle, forcing her off balance again, trying to topple her backward. As Jazz fought to recover, he struck her elbow hard. Wham! It was a different sound from the crisp whack when wood hit wood. This was softer, duller, the sound of wood hitting flesh and bone. Jazz heard her own involuntary gasp of pain. Fire shot up her arm and to her shoulder, and for a moment she lost her grip on the stick with her right hand. She forced her fingers to close on it again, but they were numb. She couldn't feel what she was holding. She couldn't block properly with one arm, useless. And Morgan was advancing, that deadly cold light in his eyes, absolutely merciless. His movements were relaxed and easy. He knew exactly what he was doing now. Two more whacks and he got through her guard again. The oak stick slammed into her ribs and she felt another wave of sickening pain. Gray dots danced in front of her eyes. Fractured? Jazz wondered briefly. She hoped not. Vampires could break each other's ribs in fun and know that everything would heal in a day or two. But Jazz wouldn't recover like that. Morgan might kill her without even meaning to. She couldn't let him keep striking her, but she couldn't retreat either. If he got her into a corner, she'd be lost. Whack, wham! He got her on the knee. Pain sparked up and down her leg, lightening every nerve. She had no choice but to back up. He was crowding her relentlessly, forcing her to the wall. Morgan flashed a smile at her, not the cold smile. This one was brilliant and very familiar to Jazz. It made him look devastatingly handsome, and it meant that he was in absolute command of the situation. You can give up any time now, he said, because I'm going to win, and we both know it. The end of chapter 7, part B.